Windsor Castle has just confirmed that he died this morning. His health had been deteriorating in recent months with several visits to the hospital.
He was gone before the world could catch its breath. No grand farewell. No final public appearance. Just a sudden announcement from Windsor Castle that shattered the stillness of a July morning. King Charles III had passed away. For months, rumors had swirled about his declining health, but no one expected this. Not so soon, not so suddenly. And while the world mourned, something extraordinary unfolded behind palace walls. The moment Charles drew his last breath, history shifted. Titles changed, power moved, and before sunrise, Prince William was no longer just the Duke of Cambridge, he was king. Catherine, by his side, stepped into a role history had been quietly preparing her for, Queen Consort. But this wasn't some glittering coronation planned for months in advance. There were no rehearsals, no fanfare, no polished speeches. It was raw, rushed, real. Overnight, a family deep in mourning was forced to become the face of strength, and the world watched, stunned, as one era ended and another began. Because this wasn't just the passing of a monarch, it was the emotional collision of legacy, loss, and destiny. And what happened in those first 24 hours would change everything. In the months leading up to his death, King Charles seemed determined to defy the inevitable. Diagnosed with cancer in early 2024, the palace kept the details vague. Undergoing treatment, they said, in good spirits. And to the public, that was enough. Charles continued showing up, thin, a little slower, but still present, still the king. But behind the palace gates, a different reality was unfolding. Close aides had begun noticing signs: missed meals, exhaustion after short engagements, uncharacteristic forgetfulness. According to reports from BBC and AP News, Charles was battling through it all, quietly enduring the physical toll of aggressive treatment. Publicly, he smiled. Privately, he suffered. Yet, even through the pain, he refused to stop. In his final appearances, he gave speeches about unity, environmental urgency, and royal duty. And when asked if he needed to rest, he reportedly replied, "There's no time. Not anymore." And that may have been the truest thing he ever said, because time was running out, faster than anyone expected. Then came July 18th, 2025. Early that morning, insiders say Charles experienced a sudden medical complication while at Balmoral Castle, the same historic estate where Queen Elizabeth had once passed. Surrounded by close family, the king quietly slipped away. No chaos, no headlines, just silence. But it didn't last. By midday, Buckingham Palace released a somber statement confirming what insiders had already whispered. His Majesty King Charles III passed away peacefully this morning. And just like that, the weight of the crown shifted. Flags across the UK dropped to half-mast. Church bells rang out. Social media exploded in disbelief. And yet, underneath all the tributes and headlines, one question echoed louder than the rest. How could this have happened so quickly? Because just days earlier, Charles had been seen in public. Frail, yes, but composed. A Yahoo Entertainment report from July 17th even mentioned updates to his funeral plans, a quiet nod to his awareness of what was coming. But no one thought the end was that close. The timing was brutal, the shift immediate, and while the nation paused in mourning, another force had already begun moving, fast, silent, and unstoppable. The line of succession had been activated. For most people, losing a parent is a private tragedy. But for Prince William, that grief came wrapped in duty, and it came fast. Just hours after King Charles' death, William was no longer just a mourning son. He was King William V. There was no time for tears, no room for hesitation. The moment his father's heart stopped beating, protocol took over. A historic machine, centuries old, began to move. And William? He was now at the center of it. Reports claim he was at Balmoral when it happened. Close family sources say he sat by Charles's side during those final moments, but the stillness didn't last. Within minutes, the Prime Minister was informed. The Archbishop of Canterbury was notified. Royal advisors gathered in urgent meetings. And William, just 43 years old, was thrust into the role he'd been trained for since birth. But training doesn't prepare you for this. Those who saw him that day described a man visibly shaken but composed. A Sky News report captured his first words to the nation. "My father's devotion to this country was unmatched. I promised to continue his legacy with duty, with humility, and with unwavering love for our people." The speech was brief, measured, but behind the calm delivery, it was clear this was not the boy who once walked behind Princess Diana's coffin. This was a man, now a king, shouldering the weight of 2 generations of grief. And what made it harder? The world was watching every move. Cameras followed him as he left Balmoral, as he met with Parliament, as he entered Buckingham Palace, not as a guest, but as its sovereign ruler. Every handshake, every nod, every word was recorded, analyzed, and broadcast globally. He didn't flinch. But insiders say William took no comfort in the spotlight. Privately, he was devastated. Charles wasn't just a monarch, he was his mentor, his compass. And though their relationship had its strains over the years, William had always admired his father's resilience. Now, he'd have to embody it. And he wasn't alone, because standing quietly behind him was Catherine. And what came next would prove just how vital her role was about to become. When King Charles passed, all eyes shifted to William. But just behind him stood someone the world had been quietly watching for years, Catherine. In an instant, she went from Duchess of Cambridge to Queen Consort. But this wasn't just a change in title. It was a seismic shift in the monarchy's public image. Because Catherine wasn't just married to the new king, she was the monarchy's future. And she knew it. From the very beginning, Catherine played the long game, never rushing, never overshadowing. She studied the institution, followed protocol, and earned her place with quiet strength. But when Charles died, there was no more time to play it safe. The nation was in mourning, the royal family was fractured, and now Catherine had to lead, not just with words but with presence. In her first appearance after the king's death, she stood beside William, dressed in black, her expression composed but solemn. BBC analysts noted the symbolism, her posture, her subtle nods, the steady calm in her eyes. She wasn't just showing grief, she was showing control. Behind the scenes, sources say Catherine was instrumental in helping William navigate those critical first hours. She coordinated family communications, she comforted their children, and she prepared herself for the public stage, knowing full well that her every move would be scrutinized. But she didn't flinch. In fact, the world saw something in Catherine it hadn't seen since the days of Princess Diana. Poise with purpose. And while comparisons were inevitable, Catherine never tried to replace Diana. Instead, she redefined the role. This was not a queen built on glamour or headlines. This was a queen forged in patience, loyalty, and quiet power, and that power was about to be tested. Because the moment she stepped into that spotlight, the press, the public, and even the palace began asking one question: was Catherine ready to be queen? And soon enough, she'd get the chance to prove it. For over 1,000 years, British coronations have followed the same script: sacred rituals, golden crowns, and solemn oaths echoing through Westminster Abbey. But King William's coronation, it shattered tradition in the most unexpected way. Less than 3 months after King Charles' passing, the royal family announced the date, sooner than anyone expected. Royal experts were stunned. Most assumed William would wait a year, maybe more. But insiders revealed why he didn't. He didn't want a long period of uncertainty, one palace aide explained. He wanted the country to heal and move forward. And that's exactly what happened. On a storm-grey morning in October 2025, the world tuned in to witness something historic. the rise of a modern monarch. From the start, it was clear this wasn't Charles's coronation. It wasn't even Elizabeth's. It was William's, and it was different. The procession, though still regal, was scaled back. No excessive opulence, no ancient carriage creaking down cobblestone. Instead, William and Catherine arrived together, shoulder to shoulder, in a sleek black state car, equal parts royalty and modern leadership. Inside Westminster Abbey, the ancient rituals remained: the oil, the orb, the crown. But William made subtle, powerful changes. He delivered part of his oath in Welsh, an unprecedented nod to the unity of the kingdom. And instead of being crowned behind a curtain like monarchs before him, he allowed the moment to be televised in full, a transparent, unfiltered transfer of power. But the most talked about moment? Catherine. When it came time to crown the new queen consort, she didn't just kneel beside him. She stood, and for a brief second, she looked out into the sea of cameras, her gaze unwavering. It was a silent message to the world. She wasn't just supporting the throne, she was part of it. George. Crowds outside Buckingham Palace roared as the royal couple stepped onto the balcony, hand in hand. William didn't raise his arms. He didn't wave for applause. He simply looked out and nodded. The moment felt different, less like a performance, more like a promise. And while millions watched in awe, one quiet question lingered just beneath the surface. Was this the start of a new kind of monarchy, or the beginning of its final transformation? If you found this story as fascinating as we did, don't stop here. Hit subscribe and tap the bell icon, because what's happening behind palace walls isn't over. It's just beginning. More secrets, more shifts, and more moments the world wasn't supposed to see. Got thoughts about the new royal era? Drop them in the comments. We're reading everything. And if you think someone you know needs to see this, share it. The crown may have changed hands, but the drama, it's just getting started.